Okay, I hope you remember where we were last week. We were talking about the three things. Three things that make fire: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Take one away and you have no fire. For true art, you have the artist, the subject, and the aficionado, the person that watches it, looks at it. You need those three things to make true art. Take one away and you don't have it. Okay, so we're going to talk about museums now, what their role is. Artist, subject, aficionado. True art. You remember that? Okay. Remove any one of these, you don't have true art. So what do we do with this? This triangle. Where does that work? Where do we keep that? We keep that in what we call museums. Or at least that's what they're supposed to be. There's supposed to be a place where you put this. That's where you find the aficionado. That's where he is. So he looks at the subject, he knows the artist, and he finds it in the museum. But what I'm saying has happened to the museums is there's no aficionados in the museums. They've turned them into tourist meccas. They've made these fancy buildings. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the buildings. I mean, look, Bilbao, I love Frank Gehry's work. The Guggenheim, I love Frank Lloyd Wright. Fine, they're buildings. But people go there for the building and the restaurant and the knickknacks they sell, and they look around, and they're not aficionados. They don't know anything about these artists or arts that they're going to look at. They go there because of the building, because of the ambiance. They think they're being cultured. Now you can take this triangle and put it in a barn out in the middle of nowhere, like I said before. The aficionados will go because they want true art. They live off of true art. They love true art. It builds their soul. There's something about it that just makes them, uplifts them, raises them. So, what we need to do over the next, how many weeks I'm doing this, is we need to go through the book of art and help the people here become aficionados. To learn something about what it is to be an artist, to learn something about what an artist does, and what he's trying to do, he or she's trying to do, so that when they go to a museum, they'll become aficionados, and they will say, they will turn this into true art. They'll go to the museum and say, listen, I want some true art in here, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm not a tourist. I don't want just anything you throw in this building. I want it to be the real stuff. That's where I want to come to look at it. If you don't do it here, I have to go out and look for it in wherever it is. If it's in somebody's studio, or if it's in somebody's barn, wherever it is. That's where I'll have to go. That's what the aficionado will tell them. So eventually, maybe the museums will get the message and throw those socialites out and all their big high donors and all their cafes and stuff, and start putting some real stuff in there so that you get aficionados coming. That way there will be a house of true art, not just a house of decorations. Do you get my point? You see what I'm talking about here? It takes all three of us. I can't do it by myself. All I can do is take a subject and I can paint it. It's up to you, the viewer, to decide if it's true art or not. You're the one. I can't decide. You have to decide by becoming an aficionado. I don't want just some tourist walking down the street to judge, to say whether that's art or not, because they're not going to make that triangle. I want somebody that understands what it is I was trying to do, look at the subject and see and know the subject and see what I did with that subject. And if that's worthy, then they're the aficionados. That will make it true art. That's how it works. Now, I don't care what they teach you in school, in art school, about being an artist, about what people think. This is what it is. This is the truth. That's what we're talking about. And if you don't believe me, you go ahead the other way and you'll find yourself, your artwork's going into the heap right after you die. There might be some of your friends and relatives that keep it going a couple of years, but if we're talking about the real art, kind Van Gogh produced, you're going to need these three elements. You're going to need the people, the aficionados, because that's what makes it complete. So I want you to cut and paste that address up there, send it to 10 friends, tell them to watch this. You say, watch this if you want to be an artist. Watch this if you want to know what art is. Do that. Okay, until next week, send to 10 friends, go to my website, send me an email.